So today, we're going to dive into the transformation of Will Hunting. Now, you might know him as this janitor from Southie who's also, a crazy, once-in-a-generation genius. But this story, it's so much more than just being smart. It's really about this gut-wrenching fight to choose your own happiness over what everyone else expects of you. And man, the courage it takes to finally face your own demons.
Okay, this line right here from his best friend Chucky, it cuts right to the heart of the whole thing. I mean, think about it. Will has this unbelievable gift, this winning lottery ticket, right? But he is absolutely paralyzed by fear. Fear of failing, sure, but also fear of leaving everything he knows behind. And maybe the biggest fear of all, letting people see the real him. So yeah, this is a story all about untapped potential and that painful but totally necessary journey to finally unlock it.
All right, so to really get Will, you've got to understand the two completely different worlds he's trapped between. On one hand, you have the rough, loyal streets of South Boston, and on the other, the super elite, brainy halls of MIT. So this is the core conflict right here. This is the whole tension of his character, boiled down. I mean, by day, he's this guy who's fiercely loyal to his buddies, always ready for a fight, just a total product of his tough neighborhood. But then, secretly, he's got this mind that's just off the charts. We're talking about a guy who solves insane, graduate-level math problems just for fun. He's basically living a double life, and nobody knows. You know, Will's genius is just hiding in plain sight. It's kind of wild, right? His tiny apartment is overflowing with library bucks, but what does he do for a living? He's a janitor. He'll throw down and defend his friends with his fists in a heartbeat, but his real weapon, his greatest weapon, is his mind. And this whole thing is just a ticking time bomb, really. It's all set to explode when this famous mathematician, Professor Lambeau, finds out that it's the janitor who's been solving these supposedly unsolvable problems he leaves on the blackboard.
So, as you can imagine, this discovery just smashes Will's two worlds together. But here's the thing. When this incredible opportunity for a totally different life lands in his lap, what's his first move? Is it to grab it? Nope, it's to fight it. To fight it with everything he's got.
Yeah, so Will's long list of run-ins with the cops finally catches up to him in a big way. He's looking at serious jail time. And this is the moment Professor Lambeau steps in. He just can't stand to see this unbelievable raw talent get thrown away, so he goes to the judge and basically says, "Look, let me make you a deal. Release him into my custody."
And Lambeau's deal? It sounds pretty simple, but really, it's going to change everything for Will. So here are the terms. First, Will has to meet with him to work on high-level math, to actually harness that amazing brain of his. And second, and this is the big one, he has to go to therapy. He needs to deal with that deep-down anger that keeps getting him into trouble.
So, Will agrees, right? But let's be real, he's only doing it to stay out of a jail cell. He has zero intention of actually playing along. He basically turns therapy into his own personal intellectual battlefield. He uses that razor-sharp mind and his sarcasm to just tear apart every single therapist Lambeau sends his way. It's like his intelligence is a fortress and he's not letting anyone in.
Okay, so just when Lambeau is at his wit's end, ready to throw in the towel, he makes one last-ditch effort. He calls up an old college buddy, a guy named Sean McGuire who teaches psychology at a community college. And Sean? Well, let's just say Sean isn't like the others. He's not going to be so easy to push around.
And this is the moment. This is how Sean finally breaks through. In this incredible, powerful monologue, he just completely flips the script on Will. He points out, yeah, you've read every book, you know all the facts, but you know nothing about real life. You don't know about love or loss or what it feels like to be truly vulnerable. He calls out Will's intellectual arrogance for exactly what it is, just a big shield to hide behind.
And this right here sets up the core idea of the whole story. It's this whole debate of wisdom versus knowledge. See, Sean isn't impressed by what Will knows. He's worried about what Will doesn't understand. He's making this point that real wisdom, actual emotional intelligence, that stuff doesn't come from a library book. It comes from living, from experiencing life, the good parts and the really, really bad parts.
And all their sessions, all that back and forth, it all leads to this one simple phrase. It's not your fault. Sean just keeps saying it over and over and over. And with each time, he's just chipping away at this massive wall of guilt and trauma that Will built up from his abusive childhood. And that's it. That's the moment the walls finally crumble, and Will can actually face the pain he's been running from his whole life.
So, Will is finally making some real progress in therapy, right?
But of course, life immediately throws him a curveball. His brand new, fragile emotional state gets put to the ultimate test by a new relationship with a Harvard student named Skylar.
You know, Will and Skylar, they have this amazing connection right off the bat. But that old fear of getting close, of intimacy, it's always there, like a wall between them. He is absolutely terrified that if she found out the truth about his past, that he's an orphan, that he was abused, that she'd run, that she couldn't possibly love him. So what happens when she asks him to move to California with her? His self-sabotage mode goes into overdrive. He pushes her away hard, because it's better to push someone away than to risk them leaving you, right?
So now, Will is standing at this massive crossroads. He's literally being pulled in two completely opposite directions by his mentors. Lambo and Sean, they each represent a totally different version of his future.
And the choice he has to make is it's incredibly stark. You've got Professor Lambeau's path on one side. Maximize the genius, take the fancy high-pressure jobs, basically conform to this world that Will has never trusted. And then you have Sean's path, which isn't about a job at all. It's about finding happiness. It's about healing, letting yourself be vulnerable, and for once, making your own damn choice without worrying about what everyone else wants from you.
And look, the pressure isn't just coming from the professors. In what is, for me, one of the most powerful scenes, his best friend Chucky lays it all out for him. He tells Will that if he wastes this gift, it's not just a loss for him, it's an insult to all of his friends. He basically says, man, this is a winning lottery ticket. Our dads broke their backs their whole lives, hoping that one day their kids could have a chance just like this.
So with all of this weighing on him, these huge, life-altering choices about love, his career, his entire sense of self-worth, Will finally makes a decision.
And what does he do? He walks away. He completely rejects the life that Lambeau had all planned out for him. He says no thanks to the fancy, high-paying jobs with big corporations and the government. He decides he's not going to be some pawn in a system he just doesn't believe in.
Instead of all that, he just leaves a simple note for Sean. And that note says everything. His decision couldn't be clearer. He isn't choosing a job. He isn't choosing a career. He's choosing a person. He's choosing connection. He's choosing to be vulnerable. For the very first time in his life, he's choosing love.
And that's how the story wraps up, with this incredible, powerful image of Will driving his beat-up car toward the horizon. He's on his way to California to go see about a girl. It's the perfect symbol of freedom, isn't it? For the first time, he is literally in the driver's seat of his own life. He's not chasing what Lambeau wants or what his friends want, but what he wants, what his heart wants.
And that really leaves us with this one big, fascinating question to chew on, doesn't it? The whole story of Will Hunting makes you ask, what does genius even mean? Is true genius about solving the world's biggest, most complex problems? Or is the greatest, most profound achievement of all just figuring out how to solve your own?